on the social media regarding the safety of the third mainland bridge. Federal Control of Works took NTA News crew on a ride of the entire stretch of the bridge. To allay fears of motorists, the Controller of Works said repairs has been concluded on the bridge from Adekunle section to Adeniji Adele end.
We got the news that was circulating by rumor mongers. I want to tell you that it's a fake news. We are on top of a third mainland bridge now. As I'm speaking with you, you can see that it's safe. We have driven to the end and then we came back to this point. There is no place where there is any, where the bridge collapsed or where there is any vibration or is shaking.
The major work still ongoing, he said, is under the water.
They are carrying out the underwater repairs of the piers, the pike cap, and then the piers itself, including the shaft under the bridge.
The third mainland bridge recently had major repairs conducted on it and was open to traffic in February 2021. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Adequate and periodic checks will be carried out on army formations across Nigeria to ascertain the level of infrastructural development in the barracks. Chairman House Committee on Army, Abdul Razak Namdas, while an oversight to some barracks in Lagos, expressed satisfaction on the implementation of funds.
They are fearless, determined, rugged and committed to protecting the nation's territorial integrity. These patriotic Nigerians most times pay the supreme price on the line of duty. While they remain at the battlefront trying to prevent the enemies from advancing, the federal government is reciprocating the gesture through improved welfare, habitable accommodation, and provision of sophisticated gadgets.
Government work is progressing. We will still give them another money in 2022. They will select others. And this is not the only barracks we have. The Nigerian Army has 138 barracks across the country. So some of these issues are not only in Lagos, they're in other parts of the places, but I think they are doing quite.
And those are the stories for now from Lagos. We'll take a break, and when we return, it's back to Ayo in Abuja.
Media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Transmitter operation and maintenance. Date 1st November to 5th November 2021. 1 week. Photojournalism and photography. Date 8th November to 26th November 2021. 3 weeks. Advanced broadcast accounting and auditing. Date 22nd November to 3rd December 2021. 2 weeks. The course fee for the 3-week course is 130,000 naira per participant, while the fee for the 2-week course and 1-week engineering course is 100,000 naira only per participant, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
One country, one peaceful people, united in diversity.
We are great Nigerians.
Let's be peaceful.
We refuse to be manipulated by desperados and instigators.
We cannot succeed without your cooperation.
A peaceful and united Nigeria is possible.
Join us in one voice, one love and unity.
As we march around the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT,
for national peace
and unity campaign to tackle this.
Babban taro na Najeriya domin dawo da soyayya a tsakanin 'yan Najeriya.
When the power of love overcomes the love for power.
For our country, Nigeria.
Together we stand.
This message is brought to you by the ambassadors of Voice of Change Initiative, supported by Nigerian Television Authority NTA and Federal Capital Territory FCT.
History is history, so either you know it or you don't.
My advice to the younger generation is that they should learn from what we have started and what we have left.
I did things that ordinarily I should not have been doing. What that meant was that I was working hard.
Whatever assignment you are given in life, put in your best.
The military years were a disaster.
smoldering effects of all that is what we are trying to cure.
You're welcome back. Nigeria has developed a blueprint for the preservation and conservation of its forest ecosystem. Onengiye Fineface reports that the Ministry of Environment officially presented the blueprint, which is the National Red Plus Strategy document, to stakeholders at COP26 in Glasgow.
Nigeria's National Red Plus Strategy document is anchored on the general objective to reduce the rate of carbon emissions and enhance removals from the forest sector while creating benefits for resilience building and green economic development.
To present to you the Nigerian National Red Strategy document. Here.
Minister of Environment Sharon Ikazo represented formed the official launch of the document to pave the way for adopting ecologically friendly and climate-smart forest and forest-related investments, especially in agriculture.
People need wood to do their household needs. Agriculture, you need to farm so you could eat. You need to mine so you could get some resources. But we are saying within the landscape, how do we connect to do it in a manner that the environment is not jeopardized? That's what this strategy is presenting.
The strategy is initiated to address deforestation, improve forest and climate governance, attract incentives and enable equitable benefits from forest resources. In Glasgow, Scotland, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
In a related development, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Omar Farouk, says Nigeria's climate mitigation plan is responsive to the plight of vulnerable communities, but much more needs to be done to build their resilience. Again, Onengiye Fineface reports that the minister, while addressing participants at COP26, demanded global support to close existing gaps in climate disaster management.
Climate change affects the environment and its biological diversity. But for the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, the impact on human lives and livelihood is most important. Addressing stakeholders at COP26 in Glasgow, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs says Nigeria has taken bold steps to mitigate the impact of climate change on the people. But to achieve the humanitarian element of adaptation, international intervention and support is required.
The key point here is how to build resilience of these affected individuals once they are affected by disasters. And this is what the government of the country is doing. We have put in place different programs, structures, and systems to support this.
Senator Hassan Bozo says the National Assembly has already provided the needed legal framework to this effect with the Climate Change Bill to give the executive the needed platform to achieve the nation's net zero targets by 2060.
You see, when the bill is there, let the executive implement, while the individuals should also please give their own support, because it is for every one of us. It's not for an issue of a government agency or the legislature.
The presentation also highlighted the role of non-governmental organizations, civil society and the private sector, as well as individuals, to achieve the needed resilience for Nigeria. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Moving on, the Ministry of Works and Housing is engaging critical stakeholders in the housing sector with a view to floating a national housing bond. The engagement, led by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, provided avenue for the aggregation of ideas to stimulate a vibrant housing economy in the country. Abdullahi Muhammad reports.
Big-time players in the build industry, their partners in progress from the mortgage, and an array of top officers from the housing regulation sector listening to each other. The objective was to perfect a roadmap which leads to the floating of a national housing bond on the floor of the Nigeria Exchange Group These, the Minister of Works and Housing say, will meet the funding gaps of the demand and supply sides in the housing sector.
It may be real estate investment trusts. It may be the reform of the National Housing Fund itself. It may be tax credit schemes for housing. Indeed, it may be a sukuk. And it may be none of them. And it may be all of them.
The hands of ownership here no doubt prepares a public-private partnership within the housing sector, which the National Mortgage Institution expects to multiply liquidity in the supply side.
It's part of our 5-year strategic development plan. The Honourable Minister is throwing his weight behind this noble endeavour is also very much commendable.
The seed of the National Housing Band is sown with these gatherings, and it is expected that the initiative will see the light of the day soon. In Abuja, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
Let's go over now to Glasgow, Scotland, where NTA find faces at COP26. NTA world leaders have made a series of commitments to walk the talk in the race against climate change. But at the center of these commitments is the role of youth in climate action. Can you speak to this?
Well, thank you, Ayo, for very much in Glasgow. I have to see young youth, are you climate activist speakers? What the truth of the matter is that world leaders have made commitments. Nigeria too made commitments to President Muhammadu Buhari saying that Nigeria will meet its NDC and commitment to net zero by 2060. But then, the fact that these world leaders are very there are no people that are seen as standard of change. Those that will actually take the next steps for climate action to be pushed beyond the those that are those gradually living in the state and the young ones who are going to face the impact of climate change are coming in. Look at the how young people have been active in spreading the message of climate change and taking climate action as frontline participants.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nigeria is one of those countries where young people are really demanding climate action and are showcasing their action locally and international agenda like this conferences. But there's much to be done because right now we need finance like that of $100 billion.
A sincere apology. I have to disconnect with NTA at the moment because of the audio quality of the conversation that's ongoing. Beaming the searchlights on who owns what in Nigeria's extractive industries will prevent revenue leakages, support businesses and attract investments. This was agreed upon at the launch of Opening Extractives in Nigeria, organized by the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
In the next 5 years, government, companies, and civil society actors should have greater access to and use of comprehensive and reliable information about the ultimate owners of extractive industry companies facilitated through Opening Extractives.
The statement of commitment from government, industry players and civil society organizations signals the continuous lifting of the veil covering identities of owners of companies in the extractive sector, which stakeholders believe will reduce loss of revenues, insecurity, infrastructural deficit and erosion of public trust.
We applaud Nigeria's accomplishments in launching the Persons of Significant Control Register and prior to this developing Africa's first digital beneficial ownership register for the extractive sector.
Making the registers count through constant interrogation, update and utilization of information and data contained in these registers to demand accountability are critical to the success of this campaign.
The NHWG will therefore continue to provide the required leadership, strategic policy direction, monitoring and oversight that will ensure successful implementation.
With the Company and Allied Matters Act and the recent Petroleum Industry Act already in force, the opening of the extractive industries to more transparency is seen as a platform to raise revenue for economic growth. Benny Adams, NTA News.
For more on Nationwide, let's join Ogochukwuka in our Benin Center. Good evening, Ogochukwuka.
Very good evening to you, Ayodeji. Thank you for joining us. Some members of a gang of kidnappers alleged to be the masterminds of recent abductions in Benin are presently in police custody. They met their Waterloo when they had an encounter with a combined team of the police and vigilante during one of their operations. Goodluck Enaini has details.
The suspects, 25-year-old David Ayobamide from Ijebu-Ode in Ogun State and 23-year-old Lucky Fossa of Oro Street, 5 Junction, Benin City, were arrested after the Ugbowo Division received a distress call that some kidnappers had succeeded in kidnapping the occupant of some vehicles. 2 of their victims were rescued. Items recovered from the suspects were a ash and yellow-colored car and a jeep.
Told me to follow them, then I opened the back of my car and put me inside the boot. As I tried it, then the boot now open, I jump out and I find out that the place that they stopped, it was at the Lord Joshua. And I now started shouting, kidnapper, kidnapper.
I alighted from the car to open the gate, and 3 armed men walked up to me, and I saw them. I dropped the key inside the compound because I've not opened the gate. One of them scaled through the fence, collected the key. Then as we were coming out, the other ones that were with me, they ransacked me.
Anywhere you kidnap, the police will follow you, and the local vigilante will join force with the local vigilante will follow you to ensure that they are being arrested.
The suspects are to be charged to court after investigation. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Security matters, the kidnappers of our popular petrol dealer in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, Alhaji Suleiman Akimbami, have been paraded before newsmen by the Ekiti State Police Command. The businessman was abducted in January this year. Ayodeji Ogunshaki reports.
The police public relations officer Sunday Abutu said, aside the adoption of the petrol dealer in Ado-Ekiti, Alhaji Suleiman Akimbami in January this year, the gang is also responsible for the kidnap of the wife of the former Ekiti State Surveyor General, Mrs. Oshalusi Dapo, and the late Chief Abiodun Ajayi, who jumped down from their vehicle but later died in a hospital. According to the police spokesperson, the building used by the suspected kidnappers to keep their victims, located at Ajilosun area of Ado-Ekiti and Ayere Forest in Kogi State, were uncovered.
During interrogation, the suspect confessed to be responsible for the kidnapping of one Olowo Bolaji in Ikuti, Ekiti. They also confessed to have kidnapped one Alhaji Suleiman Akimbami, a petrol dealer, who was kidnapped on the 10th of January 2021 in Ado-Ekiti.
An accomplice, a middle-aged woman who usually supplied food for the kidnappers and their victims, was also paraded. The police spokesperson explained that 4 members of the gang are currently at large, while items including 5 locally made barrel guns, 13 rounds of live cartridge ammunition, India Ames and 1 Toyota Corolla car were recovered from them. From Ado-Ekiti, Ayodeji Ogunshaki, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to you in Abuja, Ayodeji.
Thanks, Ogochukwuka in our Benin Network Center. The use of threats and delays by airports operatives to extort money from passengers at the nation's airports is to be stamped out completely, as travelers are being urged to track the on-duty card of any operator or agent asking for bribe and report through designated points around the airports. This is part of strategies the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria is adopting to arrest any act of indiscipline and extortion. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimero has the details.
You don't want to wait online for your COVID test? Oh, pay this guy. You don't want to have your bags checked? Pay this guy. You want to cut the passport line? Pay this guy.
The lady said to me, and she asked me for a bribe in order for me to enter the country.
Viral
Knowing
videos
that I
of
paid a lot of money to
extortions
get there.
at the Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, have again been robbing off the gains that the introduction of the ease of doing business has achieved in the last 3 years. FAN says the challenges of delays occasioned by multiple checks that some operatives used to extort travelers was simplified with the ease of doing business, but found its way back, and the authorities are up to the task.
All stakeholders must have their names prominently written on their shirts within our terminal or within our facilities. If you are caught with your name not written, it's another violation. You might lose your ODC. All violations, any and all violations recorded or caught, fine will escalate.
It helps when you get the name and if you can get the agency so that we can go straight to where it matters.
The SA to the President on ease of doing business, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, further advised the people to download a feedback app to report anybody or agent found wanting of any act of indiscipline to undermine the system. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
The Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, says contrary to social media reports, it is not in custody of an Air Force personnel, Sergeant Tosabo Solomon, who was allegedly involved in the recent security breach on the academy. A statement by the Academy Public Relations Officer, Major Bashir Mohammed Jajira, says NDA is a military training institution and not an investigative security agency. It therefore urged the public to disregard the misinformation, stressing that the perpetrators of the security breach on the academy architecture will soon be apprehended. Nigerian Communications Commission has again reaffirmed that the deployment of 5G network is safe for human health. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, gave this assurance while defending the Commission's budget of year 2022 before Joint National Assembly Committee on Communications. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola has the details.
It is yet another session of budget scrutiny with the management of the nation's regulatory body in telecommunications appearing before the lawmakers. Shortly after the appraisal of the 2021 budget performance of the Commission, members of the National Assembly sought further information on some key policy directions, especially the deployment of the 5G network.
Your school supports program and projects. The following schools have sent the list of their analysts to us, and we want you to ensure that the contractors are not paid until this is okay.
There's concern of a particular high-risk and extremely damaging malware called Flubot. So maybe you can explain on that so that Nigerians will be assured that their safety is guaranteed.
Professor Umaru Dambata did not mince words as he clarified that there is no cause for alarm regarding the 5G deployment.
The very one we are about to auction is perfectly safe. It is not harmful to human beings, and there is no evidence whatsoever, no medical evidence, okay, from the World Health Organization indicating any correlation between this spectrum and the health of students using this source.
The Joint National Assembly Committee acknowledged the contributions of the Commission to the revenue base of the nation, much as it beckons for increased budget performance in the year ahead. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
In a related developments concerned about what it's described as lack of modern security infrastructure in Abuja, the House of Representatives Committee has passed a resolution inviting the Minister of Federal Capital Territory to brief members. The issue raised under matter of urgent public importance by Deputy Minority Leader Toby Okechukwu noted that satellite towns are equally lacking in infrastructure and alleged that indiscriminate allocation of lands in green areas is constituting a breach to FCT master plan. The House observed that some of these fallouts are the consequence of the absence of a full administrative structure. The report of the Conference Committee on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2021 has been adopted and passed. Federal government has made public its position on the review of the nation's vertical revenue allocation formula. Leah Katumba Batude was at the final public hearing on the review by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission and reports that the FCT is requesting the full state status as put forward by the Minister Mohammed Musa Bello.
The FCT has remained a permanent construction site. Abuja is one of the fastest growing cities in the world, and the Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Bello, points out some staggering statistics. 137 projects just like this one are ongoing within the FCT, needing 800 billion naira as of July 2021. But perhaps the most pressing need for the minister, and as contained in his proposal, is the need for the FCT to be designated a state status.
Because of the population explosion and because of the massive expansion, for us to be able to develop the city to match the population expansion, we need to have a special funding status, and that is our appeal to the Commission.
The last time the sharing formula was reviewed was in 1992, and a lot of variables have changed since then. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, in a message, said though the federal government spends more, revenue allocation should be done constructively in the face of dwindling national revenue base and the imperative for states to generate their IGR.
The federal government recognizes that it is the country is made up of constituent states where the developments are happening, is amenable to a review, and that is why we have done some review to make sure that we move from where we were at 52.68 to 50.6, then getting for state governments too, we did a reduction of 8% and increased that of local government because development needs to start getting to the local people.
Before the end of this year, our own side of the work will be concluded, and we'll be ready to submit our report to Mr. President.
The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is assuring it will be fair to all. In Abuja, Leah Katung-Babatunde, NTA News.
Felicia in our Jos Network Center is next on Nationwide. Good evening, Felicia.
Hello, Ayodeji. Welcome to JOS. The National Universities Commission is conducting quality assurance exercise in NTA Television College, JOS. Zenred Dimun has details.
Established in 1980, the Nigerian Television College, JOS, is committed to providing high-quality professional and specialized education in television production and journalism as a means of fostering and promoting the best practices of the profession to enrich standard of television services worldwide. Officials of the National Universities Commission are in the college to monitor and evaluate its programs.
We'll go around, we have listened to all the beautiful speeches that have been made, but you see, what we look at is what we see both on ground and on paper, whether they match.
The monitoring team, led by Director of the college, Dr. Barnabas Bam, inspected the lecture halls, library, studio, power source, production unit, among others.
The National University Commission has now come to evaluate the performance of the supervisory university, the parent university, Ahmadu Bello University area, to see whether the university is actually supervising the college as it is expected.
This kind of exercises help us to become better and greater. We learned from previous accreditation exercises, we learned and took away some lessons from the last monitoring exercise.
The college, which was first accredited in 2006, is affiliated to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. In Jos, Zenred Dimun, NTA News.
Cancer is one of the disturbing health issues that has continued to attract scientific and humanitarian support in its management and cure. As a result, some stakeholders are carrying out awareness on the disease at the Jos University Teaching Hospital. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa reports.
An estimated figure of 2 million women are said to have suffered from breast cancer in 2020 alone, with several deaths recorded while many live with ignorance of the health crisis. Stakeholders are deploying strategic communication to reach out to patients as well as vulnerable members of the society. One of the frontline organizations is the Esther Theoden Commemorative Foundation, reaching out to patients at the Jos University Teaching Hospital with cash and supporting the hospital with cancer management facilities.
Cancer treatment is very expensive. As such, you need all public-spirited, good-spirited individuals to throw in their lot, to contribute, to chip in. Otherwise, the government or the hospital establishment are unable to do all that on their own.
Management of Jos University Teaching Hospital commended efforts of the foundation for working with the oncology unit of the hospital to support its capacity in the treatment of cancer patients.
They've sponsored the treatment of some cancer patients. Now they're donating the chemotherapy chairs that will be used in treatment of patients.
High point of the event was the presentation of hospital equipment to the management of the hospital. There was also a health talk, which was earlier carried out by staff of oncology unit of the hospital to create awareness on breast cancer. In Jos, Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, NTA News.
This is nationwide. More reports in Abuja with Ayodeji after this break. Stay with us.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest asset the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Thanks for staying tuned. As a follow-up to the visit of the FCT Minister of State, Ramatu Tijani Aliyu, to the scene of the kerosene explosion in Kubwa, the FCT Social Development Secretariat has also visited to ascertain the level of damage done by the explosion. Ifeanyi Ezumba reports.
The Acting Secretary, FCT Social Development Secretariat, Kevin Owonaike, who describes as tragic the incident of last Friday's explosion, says the Secretariat will take database of the people affected so as to know how government can assist them.
At the end, there must be a ministerial proclamation on how to aid and assist them. So what we are actually doing is that we give an assessment rate of this place. The area is highly devastated and we think many people are affected. So in order for government to intervene, they need to use a a database which we are trying to generate.
The acting secretary, alongside management of FCTA Social Development Secretariat, also visited Kubwa General Hospital and the National Hospital to augment the Minister of State's efforts. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Isumba, NTA News.
The federal government is adopting more robust and less cumbersome measures to rebuild the confidence of parents in the safety of schools in the country. This is part of the message by the Minister of Education at a presentation of a book in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
The book, titled Evolution of Day Secondary Schools in Nigeria, the minister was represented by the Permanent Secretary, Sanu Echeno. The 143-page book, written by an educationist, Dr. Yakubu Gambo, focuses on the effective and low cost of running the day secondary school system in the country.
Day schools are becoming increasingly popular because they offer you better security guarantees, and parents are more assured adequate security will be provided.
And there's the need for books like this to allow the younger ones, even at home, to have the background knowledge of the happenings in the sector of education.
The inspiration has been there for over 30 years. It has only come into fruition this year.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo was represented by the Vice Chancellor, National Open University of Nigeria.
And I trust that the author must have, in his brilliance and erudition, noticed the trend of declining attention to our history and culture in recent years.
General Manager NTA Channel 5 Abuja, Ayo Adewi, represented the Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad.
This is a documentation of historical facts that will enable children of today to know about their past, juxtapose it with the present, and also plan for the future.
The writer drew his inspiration from the experience in his senatorial district of his state, Plateau, where over 90% of secondary schools are day. Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTA News.
Zamfara State Council of Chiefs has raised the alarm over an upsurge in the number of orphans as a result of the security challenges bedeviling the state, and advocated for more collaborative efforts to adequately cater for the orphaned children. This was during an event held in Gusau to mark the 2021 World Orphans Day. Jamil Ibrahim has the details.
Those statistics from the Save the Children International show that there are about 700,000 orphans in Zamfara State. Speakers at the event argued that the figure could be much higher.
Certainly, Zamfara State now is experiencing a surge in the number of orphans that are being left behind on a daily basis.
So we need to give them basic needs like any other child so that we can reduce.
The Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission is set for the 2021 pilgrimage to Israel and Kingdom of Jordan. Omenka Amarachuku reports that the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, made this known at the end of a 4-day capacity building towards the success of the forthcoming pilgrimage.
We are preparing for 10,000 pilgrims this time around, and we are really prepared. That is why we have the retreats. Apart from the retreats, we're also going to have staff training, and apart from that, we're also going out for mobilization, state to state, and all of this is part of it. Mobilization is already going right now, and like what the media is doing is part of mobilization to tell the general public we're up again for the next pilgrimage.
The Commission also used the opportunity of the training to pray for the peace and unity of Nigeria. The Nigerian Exports Promotion Council identifies factoring as an alternative instrument to finance trade in the country as it hosts Nigeria's first national conference on factoring in Abuja. Comfort Amodu reports that the conference is holding simultaneously in Lagos. Kano and Port Harcourt with the aim of addressing challenges faced by micro, small and medium enterprises in the country. Factoring is one of the major and fastest growing instruments for structured trade finance in the world. With the projection by PricewaterhouseCoopers that Nigeria can unlock more than $1 billion financing for small and medium-sized enterprises annually, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is taking a leap to include this initiative. It is driven to promote non-oil exports through the Export Expansion Facility Program.
Quality receivables, access to cash flow and capital that will help maintain and grow their businesses.
Especially when viewed against the backdrop of the AFCFTA and the need to promote financial inclusion and MSME development for economic growth and employment generation.
And next is Sports Updates with Samuel Johnson.
The Weightlifting Federation of Nigeria says modalities have been put in place to feature at the 2021 World Weightlifting Championship scheduled for 7th to 17th of December 2021. Nigerian weightlifters are hoping to excel at the championship, which will serve as the 2022 Commonwealth Games qualifiers.
We are preparing for the Commonwealth qualifier in Uzbekistan, and we invited 7 people already to camp in Lokoja.
Nigeria's sole representative at the ongoing inaugural CAF Women Champions League is hoping to bounce back after losing 3-0 to Asfa of Morocco in its first match. Rivers Angels will take on Mamelodi Sundowns of South African ladies in its second game on Tuesday at the championship taking place in Egypt.
As it concerns the players' mistakes, it happens to any team. All we need to do is just to go back to the drawing board.
On the local scene, the 2021 Amuwo Games is on the way at designated centers in Amuwo Dolphin area of Lagos State. The game's torch was paraded across some streets in the local government as dignitaries described the games as antidote to the challenge of grassroots sports development.
Before you know it, the whole of the grassroots sports is going to get the attention it deserves.
It's so inspiring. It's really emancipating for the young people.
The Nigeria Customs volleyball teams are leaving no stone unturned in preparation for the forthcoming final phase of the Volleyball Premier League in the country. As part of efforts to further put the players in shape, a 2-day in-house beach volleyball tournament was held within the service where Team Amara in green jersey defeated Team Ene in blue jerseys by 2 straight sets, 15-11, 15-13, to emerge winners of the women's event, while the pair of Francisca Ikiede and Emmanuel Uda defeated the duo of Rafiat Lawal and Samuel Ada 2 sets, 15-12, 15-9, to emerge winners in the mixed doubles event.
I think it's really putting them in the right frame of mind for the task ahead.
Getting them in shape to meet competitions and whenever we appear in any competition.
We started our campaign in preparation for the league finals in Ilorin.
With sports updates, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
And that's nationwide this Tuesday. We'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayo DG Makinde. But before we go, remember to connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists on behalf of the entire production crew. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.